Well, I might as well review this one considering I executed its rival. I promise you it has nothing to do with the fact I have all these assets lying around here about to be more recycled than a sanitary towel at a female prison. Roughly 1 year after the Age of Ultron, Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow and Falcon are preventing a load of bad guys from stealing a biological weapon. During this, the Scarlet Witch saves Captain America from a suicide bomber by using her superpowers to twat him and the bomb into the side of a building, killing a lot of people. So the United Nations steps in and enforces a political oversight on the Avengers. Great job, government. It's only taken 2 separate planet-threatening battles to consider restraining the vigilantes that, despite coming out victorious, end up killing thousands of the people they intended to protect. This divides members of the Avengers quicker than your mum divides her legs after she's had a sip of wine. Steve Rogers opposes the act because he believes that superheroes should be able to defend humanity without political oversight, whereas Tony Stark thinks that the Avengers and the government can coexist together and the rest of them must pick a team. Oh yeah, there's also some unresolved Winter Soldier shit on the side. So with its neck resting on the block stained by the blood belonging to the last good guy versus good guy superhero movie, beloved fans watching on eagerly waiting to go to war with me, armoured with nothing but rose-tinted glasses and wielding a sword made out of nostalgia if, and heaven forbid, I didn't drop my axe and start sucking the film's dick immediately. Put down your weapons, Marvel fans, you may breathe a sigh of relief. This is a very good film and by far the best Captain America installment to date. However, this film's dick is going nowhere near my mouth. It has way too many flaws to deserve that type of treatment, but more on that later. What I didn't want from this movie was for them all to choose sides within the first 10 minutes, suit up and then spend the remainder of its runtime kicking the shit out of each other like a load of drunk and over-enthusiastic cosplayers in the car park at Comic-Con. Mercifully, that didn't happen. It spent its 147-minute duration creating an atmosphere and adding layers to the previously established characters as well as introducing new and familiar ones. Speaking of that, Tom Holland does a great job as Spider-Man. The costume design looks awesome, the web slinging is the best it's ever been, and he gels brilliantly with the other members of the Avengers. On top of that, he nails the whole teenage geeky underdog qualities of Peter Parker. So have we found the best live-action Spider-Man to date? It's unclear right now. He actually wasn't in the movie for very long, but what I can say is that he was much better than this pointless ball of spunk. The action sequences are beautifully choreographed, each one a perfectly placed bridge between the acts and they never outstay their welcome. The inevitable fight scene between Team Iron Man and Team Cap is a fucking cum magnet, but the best part of the movie by miles was Captain America's shield. This thing doesn't give a fuck. It's seen many times rebounding off surfaces at angles that tells the laws of physics to go fuck itself. It embeds itself into solid walls and other immovable objects when thrown at force, yet sometimes when propelled with the same amount of welly, it somehow manages to ricochet itself off something with the same level of structural integrity as a hollowed out baked bean. As good as Chris Evans' Captain America is, he is completely outacted by Robert Downey Jr. and pretty much everyone else. It's most likely because as a character, Captain America is one of the blandest members of the Avengers. You couldn't pay me enough to spend an afternoon with him and Superman. I think Marvel knew this, which is why they threw all of these personalities into the mix to overshadow the fact that Steve Rogers / Captain America shares the same characteristics with a block of wood draped in self-absorption. Also, it felt weird that a military super soldier who in the first Avengers movie tried to prevent Stark from hacking into S.H.I.E.L.'s secure files because it wasn't a part of the mission objective and we have orders, we should follow them, is against government control, and Tony Stark, who describes himself as a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist who says, following has never been my style, is all for having said government throw a leash around his neck. Character development is one thing, but for fuck's sake, they've become so opposite to their previous selves they may as well have been wearing each other's fucking outfits. The bad guy, Helmut Zemo, oh yeah, there's a bad guy in this, has stolen a book from Hydra that contains the trigger words that turns former brainwashed Hydra agent Bucky into the bitch of anyone who recites them. He intends to use him for obvious reasons. When placing a villain under the microscope, I look to see if the actor's dialogue, body language, facial expressions and overall style suits the characteristics of the person he or she is portraying. With this guy, that type of in-depth analysis is about as necessary as a necrophiliac using birth control, because this waste of time did not need to be in the movie at all. Without him, the film would have been tighter, flowed better, and it would have focused more on the main plotline instead of veering off to this pointless twat. If they removed him completely, we would have been down one action scene, but it would have been worth it because whoever was the protagonist and the antagonist depended purely on your point of view. If you were Team Cap, Iron Man would be your bad guy and vice versa, which would have been awesome. But no, instead of that, we have to endure another revenge story that's been done more times than your dad in a gay bar restroom. I also couldn't take the tone it was going for seriously. Despite the film's best efforts to give me the impression there was actually something on the line, and the stakes were higher than me before I get out of bed, these efforts were in vain because we all know that the overall status quo of the Avengers won't change because bigger threats are coming, so the movie may as well have had reassuring messages subliminally planted in between scenes. So yeah, this is far from the rectum-ruining, arsehole-splitting, colossal mega shit that was its rival. It's so much better than Batman vs Superman. It humiliates and paddle spanks Batman vs Superman while showing it the same amount of mercy as a paedophile's cock would to the contents of an incubator.